everyone. So Anthony Davis is holding down the center position at the moment, and it's a position that he doesn't really want to play. Problem is, he's the best option for the Lakers at that position. We don't really have a Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee. Damian Jones has been not really very effective at all for us. Winning Gabriel has been pretty solid, but he's undersized to be starting at the center position. Thomas Bryant is supposed to be coming back. Maybe he can kind of help and round out the center spot, and maybe Anthony Davis could go play the 4. We know Anthony Davis doesn't really want to play the 5. He'd prefer to play the 4. My concern is Anthony Davis's shot isn't really falling. Like the bubble year, he was making everything from 3-pointers to mid-range. Like the guy couldn't miss. And so it was easier for him to play the 4 spot, where this season he hasn't really been effective shooting the basketball. And if he's not, well, then it becomes kind of hard for him to play the 4. And on top of that, a lot of his shots are going to have to be at the rim. So at that point, you might as well play the 5. But the Lakers have looked at several options at the 5 spot. They've looked at, obviously, Miles Turner, who many people really want to see be a Laker. Miles Turner even seems to want to be a Laker. He's even publicly basically came out and said, trade for me. So he would be a nice acquisition. Jakob Poeltl is another option from the San Antonio Spurs. There's a lot of talk of Doug McDermott, Josh Richardson, and then Jakob Poeltl, as well as getting trade exceptions. I personally think the Spurs deal is the sort of key to the turnaround, because not only could you get several players, but you also get a trade exception, which then you could use to go get other pieces and kind of do almost like a roster rehaul, right? But either of these guys I think would be great, and they're both very similar players in many ways. Miles Turner spreads the floor more, but Jakob Poeltl, he's a guy that can down low. He's a better rebounder. They do match up and stack up very effectively, right? So I mean, the Lakers could do well with either of these guys and really have an impact and really help improve this team, which the Lakers desperately need. And although I don't think the 5 spot is the most important need at this time, I think we really need wing depth, and we need some more 3-and-D type shooters, or just a natural scorer, right? We don't have any really natural scorers on this team. We have guys that can go get buckets, but it's not easy for them. Like even Walker. Like Walker's been great for us, but you see a lot of his shots are him just getting to the basket and just creating for himself, rather than, crossing somebody up and getting the step back, like a Devin Booker. But to a lesser degree, somebody like, Terry Rozier, I think could come in and be very effective. The hope was Kendrick Nunn would be that, but clearly he hasn't been. The Lakers, though, do seem to be trying to address the center position. That could be because maybe Anthony Davis is kind of pushing them towards hey, I need help down low. Also, we do need rebounding. So any center that could provide rebounding would really help. But one option that the Lakers have been linked to, according to Mark Stein, is Mo Bamba, who many people have wanted him for some time. Many people would really love him and embrace him. The Magic have one of the worst records in the league right now. They're not very good at all. And they're a team that very likely could be in play for Victor Wembanyama. And if they end up landing Victor Wembanyama, you don't really need Bamba, right? He's just basically going to be a guy sitting on the bench riding the pine. They have so many bigs already on top of that. And you still have Jonathan Isaac, who could, before injury, was looking like he might be a real star in this league. Granted, he's not really a center, but still, it's just another body. And so the Magic could really do well with making some type of trade to unload one of their bigs, and thus, get some assets in return, continue to tank this season, and then hopefully make a play for Victor Wembanyama, or even a Scoot Henderson. So the Magic, they have a ton of front court depth, right? So if any team is looking for a center or a young big, the Magic is the place to look for. And I do think Mo Bamba could be a guy that could come in and really kind of be a lot of what the Lakers want. I don't think he would have the impact that a Miles Turner or Jakob Poeltl would have, just because he's young, but he is a guy that I do think would, have some significance. I don't think you get him and he's just completely pointless and unplayable and irrelevant. No, I don't think that, but I don't think he's a guy that I think if you go get Miles Turner, he would make a real impact on this team. I don't think he's make an impact enough to make us a contender, but I think he would have some real value there for the Lakers just through his experience and just the intangibles that he has and just being able to do so many different things. Mo can do a lot of the same things, block shots, rebound, he can stretch the floor, all of those things. He has a ton of potential. He would be more of like a long-term play, right? Like you go get him, you have your center for the future. And hey, look, the Orlando Magic has no problem sending the Lakers centers, right? I mean, we got Shaq, we got Dwight Howard, maybe you get Mo Bamba and watch him turn into like the next great superstar center. That would be kind of ironic. But I wouldn't mind it. Like if we could go get Mo Bamba, obviously it has to be for a reasonable price. But if we can, and you could, find a way to get him, I wouldn't mind it because I do think he's a guy that could come in, make an impact now. Not only can he make an impact now, but I think he's a guy you could have, for the long haul. You basically just got your center for the future. He's young enough to where you could build him, develop him, and, kind of shape him into the center that you want him to be. We have great development, great scouting, everything. So he could be a piece that could be for our future, and just a very valuable piece. Even now, I think he could still make an impact now. I think he could definitely help and fill in a lot of spots and give us some of that center depth. Problem is like, what are you willing to give up for him? That would be where the real concern would be, is what kind of trade would the Lakers be able to package together that would be enticing to the Magic to unload a Mo Bamba that another team can't come in and make a better deal for, right? Because he is young, he has a lot of upside, he has had some real shining moments, and a guy that just looks like he could end up one day being like a legit center in this league, and he has a lot of the intangibles that many teams look for in a center in today's NBA. And I think he's a guy that could really make an impact now and for the future for many teams. So that's the thing, is what are we going to give up? What would we trade to go get him? And is he a better option than a Miles Turner or Jakob Poeltl, right? So for example, if you got to give up a first round pick for Mo Bamba, why not just give up that same first, go get Miles Turner? Or give up that same first and go get Jakob Poeltl, right? And as well as other pieces on top of that. I don't think he's not as much as I like Mo Bamba, right? He's not somebody that I would put on the list, because at least Miles Turner and Jakob Poeltl, they are young enough to where you could still have them for the next 5+ years, right? And they're still only going to be 32, 31. So you could have them for the next several years and you still have a lot of the same impact. Again, I wouldn't mind him being on the Lakers, but my thing is just I don't think he makes the impact that the Lakers need right now. And so it wouldn't be worth making that deal. If you could get him for 2 seconds, yeah, why not? I just don't think Orlando would do that. I'd really like Mo Bamba. I would if they traded for him tomorrow, I wouldn't be upset about it. I just think if you're going to trade for a center and you're going to give up a first round pick, you're better off getting somebody like Miles Turner, because at least he's established, at least he's well known, at least you know what you're going to get with him. Him and Anthony Davis would be one of, if not the best front court in the entire league. So I just think that the impact would be a lot better. And I'm not super high on the Pacers trade either, right? But say you lay out all the trades on the table, the Spurs trade is my favorite trade as of right now that we know the Lakers could actually do. That's something that I think is my favorite trade just because of what it could possibly bring you. And then I would probably say the Pacers deal is another one. I also like the Hornets deal, but that kind of just seems more rumor than actual pen to paper. And if this deal is something that could be there, unless you could get other pieces, if you could get 3 or 4 young guys, I would love Jonathan Isaac, right? And he's kind of the odd man out for the Orlando Magic. But Jonathan Isaac, granted, there's a ton of concerns with injury history. I mean, he hasn't played in 2 years. So there's a lot of concerns with that. But if he can get anywhere close to what he was, if you could get somebody like him, Mo Bamba, and maybe another young guy, I wouldn't mind it. But I just don't see Orlando trying to do something like that. Like I don't see Orlando saying like, yeah, let's give up all of our young guys and take on Patrick Beverly and Kendrick Nunn, or Russell Westbrook to buy him out. Like, they're not a team that's in that position unless they just really want the Lakers draft picks because they're like, hey, we got, Banchero, we got a bunch, we got Franz, we got all these guys, Anthony, that are all really good that we could build around. We should be really good by 2027, 2029. Like, we could take those picks. Maybe we could go get a guy to take us over the top or use those picks to then go and get another star to add to our team that we already have. Like, Orlando has a ton of upside. I mean, Banchero already looks like the next big thing, right? And so you got him, you got a bunch of like really good young talent, but they have too many of like the same position, and it's clunky at times. And so it makes sense that Orlando would want to unload some of these guys and trade some of these guys. I just don't think the Lakers could put together an enticing enough package to get a trade done when you have other teams out there that could do the same thing and give better returns, especially for young talent. If like Mo Bamba was like 32, 33, then yeah, you probably get him on the cheap end. But, like some of these guys are, they're still young enough to be drafted this upcoming draft, so it's like, they're young, right? And you're building them for the future. I understand Orlando wanting to trade some of these guys because they're going to have to make some moves, some decisions, something at some point. Why not get assets later on down the road, especially if you don't think like a guy like Mo Bamba is somebody for your future, right? If you're like, well, he's great for us now, but, if we get a Victor Wembanyama, or if we need to address the center position later on down the road, like let's trade him. I could see them valuing draft picks 5 or 6 years from now because they're so young and they're going to want to see like, what do we need over the next few years? I do see that being enticing for them, but is it enough to unload some of their really young talent? Like, would they give up Jonathan Isaac, Mo Bamba, and, insert your other favorite player that you'd like? Because, they have obviously untouchables, but I don't see them wanting to do something like that personally. So I don't think this makes a lot of sense. I don't think the Lakers should. Like, even if you could get Mo Bamba, like, let's say they would do, like, they just want 1 first, right? And they're like, hey, give us, expiring contract and 1 first, and we'll make the deal. I don't think the Lakers should do it. I think if you have to give up a first for Mo Bamba, you might as well just go get Miles Turner because you're probably going to have him for just as long. And at least he helps now and he helps for the future. And you'd have him, what you're going to get with him. Although the injury concerns, stuff like that, obviously I've said my concerns numerous times on him. But still, at least you're getting a little more stability than gambling on a bit of an unknown. But those are my thoughts and opinions, and as always, I pass the question on you. Let me know yours down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think the Lakers should go get Mo Bamba? Do you think no, hard pass? Do you think, for the right price? Yes. I don't mind it for the right price, but I just don't think you should give up one of your first. But anyway, love your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down in the comment section below.